I pushed the button. Did it work? Hello, guys and gals and robots and aliens. Today is stream number 80. So, brief recap of all the things. So, for the first 70 of my streams, I made my own server. I made my own web server from scratch pretty much in C++. And the last 10 streams I've been, as long as my voice can cooperate with me, I've been applying the stuff that I made to start work on my own game server. Not only my own game server, but my own game. I don't know. I need to get my tongue untwisted this morning. Maybe it's because I'm starting early. I'm starting like a half an hour earlier than I usually do. Maybe some water will help. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so the last, let's see. Last 5 streams, it looks like, starting from 76 till now, been working on trying to implement part of the Raft consensus algorithm and integrate it into my fledgling game server. So the Raft consensus algorithm is a way to get multiple servers to agree on the server state. So for me, since it's a game server, it's the game state. And also to elect a leader. So picking, the servers pick one of their own number to be in charge, basically. So the leader gets to apply changes to the game state and is in charge of replicating those changes to the other servers. And it also is the one that clients eventually route their requests to. Hey there, Kankomatics. Cool. So Hideo's last change to Yata really is helping me out because now I get a little pop sound whenever someone chats. So thumbs up to Hideo. And oh, I see that. Yeah, look at that. I'm like seeing chat messages now. I didn't see them before. So yesterday kind of ended badly, I think. Although I think the stream went well, it ended badly because I really was hoping that since my Raft code was passing all the unit tests, like I can show here, that it would actually work when I'm running it in the real server. But I can show you what happens now if we run it in the real server. My t-shirt's interfering. Yeah, that's just because of the bright light. See, now it's better. Because I'm wearing my cat shirt. So it's got like cats flying in outer space. I love this shirt. But yeah, it interferes with my blue screen. Hey, Adeo. Your update to Yata is awesome. So I hear a little pop sound now, and I adjusted the volume just right. It's helping me out already. And I didn't even ask, but you put in a shortcut to jump to my own channel, and I love it. So I'm just going to show you guys the state of the server. It's kind of it's in a sorry state, but we will fix it today. So realm server, we tell it, and all. So far so good, right? Yeah. Yata's being very nice to me today. So that's, oh, I guess I didn't make them the right height. There we go. Yeah, I don't have a nice command list, so it's just a stream elements thing. I hope that's okay with you guys. So, realm server, same realm. I should have picked a realm server name with one character that I wouldn't have to remember. So you can see it's really getting screwed up. Both servers think that they're the leader. I actually know why, because I saw this while I was debugging yesterday, but I didn't want to fix it and spoil the fun. What I did work on off stream yesterday was there was a crash and then there was a deadlock, and both of those were caused by other components not related to Raft or the game server, so I went and fixed them. So right now the servers don't crash, at least I hope they don't crash. If they do, it would be something new, and they don't get locked up. I should add a command for Yata. Do I not have one? No, I don't have one. Hold on. Adding one for Yata. Not that I'm adding it right now, but I'm adding a note to add one. Okay, so This bug you can see here where both of them say sending heartbeat, and if I scroll up, you'll also see that they both assume leadership when they shouldn't. Or do I have that message? I don't, because I put that in while debugging yesterday, and I took it out so that we can do it today. I didn't want to spoil the fun for the stream by just fixing stuff that was related to what I was streaming. Okay. Let me put those log messages in since that doesn't involve actually fixing anything yet. So we have some messages here, but I don't have them for things like when we become the leader. So I'm gonna add those back. I had them in there yesterday, but I took them out. Do the elections determine the main server? Yeah, they do. So the leader of the election, or the winner of the election becomes a leader, and they get to make the final decision on what changes can be made to the server state, and then they're in charge of replicating that, like sending out those changes to the other servers. And the algorithm also says that clients have to connect to the leader. If they connect to other servers, they're redirected to the leader. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I might tweak that a little bit to try to also do some load balancing. I think what will happen is I'll allow clients to connect to any server, but if the server they connect to is not the leader, there'll be an additional hop from server to server for any requests the client makes. Okay, so I'm going to put a message here. Okay, now I'm not hearing that pop sound, but that might be because I'm talking when it's going off. Does the new sound indication for new chat message free you up somewhat from constantly looking over? I hope it's just a reminder in case I don't see it, but I do want to visually train myself to look over there more often, or just quickly glance. Okay, so received majority vote, assuming leadership. We'll make that a higher priority message. And I think I also want to print out whenever someone votes for us. And when they don't. So server, that guy voted for us. Do we want to print total votes? I have the count of how many votes for us we have. I don't have a count for how many total votes we've received. But we do have the total servers. Maybe I'll just print those. So votes for us. Actually, what type is that? Size T, so it's ZU. This is also a size T. And I wanted to add an else here when they don't vote for us. Refused to vote for us, and then we don't need to print the numbers. Okay. I'll just show that off. Oh, I want to serve, I want to stage. All right. So now you can see they're all confused about how many votes they've gotten. Actually, I didn't expect to see the 3 or the 4 there. That's another bug I didn't know about. I think we're not resetting the votes for us count. There's no way we could receive 3 votes. So I think, yeah, we're not resetting the vote count. But the original problem that I did see yesterday is we're assuming leadership when we get, what is it? Actually, maybe that is the bug. But there's two. This is probably the glaring one, right? So there's a timeout, and then we got one vote, but it counted as two. So when we start a new election, we need to reset the number of votes first. So let me try to do this the TDD way and make a server test. Hey there, playing with scissors. Okay. Vote count should reset when new election started. So let me think about this. I thought I had a test case for when we don't receive a majority vote. There we go, timeout. I want the timeout, and then I want to repeat, but only get one more vote. And I think what it'll do is assume leadership when it shouldn't. Is that the right test? I have a feeling that's not the right one. I think I might have simplified that. Well, let me fix this up. Yeah, they're all voting no, but I need I need one of them to vote yes. If instance is 2, we'll have 2 vote yes. How long has the stream been online? 12 minutes. Not that long. I don't think Yada's actually sending a sound for every tell. Oh, I have it set to the minimum 2 minutes. That's why. And your message came in just shy of 2 minutes. Two minutes is the minimum. I can't set the delay to 0. Help me, Hideo. I want to set the delay to 0. Actually, it'd be nice if I could set it down to, I don't know. Yeah, I guess down to 0 with a little bit more granularity. Viewers shouldn't be able to hear the sound because I have it in Firefox and I'm routing all Firefox sound away, or not through OBS. Twitch dropping the ball? No, it's Yata. Well, Yata's not dropping the ball. I expect too much, right? So Hideo put in a little notification I can turn on, like a little pop sound whenever someone chats, but there's a minimum. It has to be 2 minutes from the previous sound. So if you were to type something and then a minute 59 seconds later you type something else, I don't hear the seconds. There's no second sound. But that's okay. Twitch is dropping the ball on your side. Oh, you mean you didn't get a stream notification? Well, I don't have like an intro, so I don't know how long people usually have intros for, but yeah, it's been going 13 minutes, 48 seconds now. All right. Zero, this thing. I'd like to set this thing down to 0. I know you probably don't want to, but right now 2 is the minimum delay between message sounds. I'm probably just being the weirdo about that. It's great that you even added it at all, so beggars can't be choosers, right? Yeah, I'm going to try to repair all 3 servers. Okay, so we make it timeout. Why would I want that? I want the strangest things today. So the thing is, sometime like, actually, maybe don't let me just set it to 0, because if you do, I'll maybe be dependent on always, like, never looking unless I hear the noise, little pop sound. But it was someone wrote a chat message, and then in like a minute 58 seconds later wrote a second one, and there was no sound for the second notification because it was less than the was it 2 minutes or two? Oh, am I totally reading that wrong? Oh, it's 2 seconds, not 2 minutes. Okay, then something else is going on because a few times I saw the new message come up and I didn't hear anything. It's not happening now though. I'm definitely hearing it. All right, so we time out, right, and then we'll expect it to raise another election, and then we'll just send one vote for it, and then we'll assert that it's not the leader yet. Like this. Timeout. So yeah, I don't need this, do I? I don't need this. That replaces that. I'm hearing the pops now on every message. Hey there, Romania Hate. I'm doing well. I'm trying to get this actually working today. So I'm filling in use cases for bugs I found. So right now, the vote count is not being reset when a new election started. So making a test case to cover the bug. So we don't need this, right? Mr. Sir. I don't think I've ever seen that emote before. Okay, there's another bug in that the term is being incremented. This might interfere. This might interfere with the test actually doing the right thing. Well, let's see. So the assert would be expect false. Server is leader. If this passes, then it might be because this term. The other bug is that the election, the term number is being incremented every time, even on a split vote. Oh, Mike and Principal, good morning. Morning. Are you recovering from the Ludum Dare stuff? I think you were like doing 24-hour streams, or at least it seemed like you were getting your game out. It looked pretty awesome. And then you were testing a bunch of other people's games. I have a suspicion, yeah, that this passes. I bet if I turn this to a 2, though, it would fail because of the election. No, it's still correct. Okay, I'm just wrong. Let me think about this. So we reach the first timeout. It should send the election request. We all vote no except for one of them. It should accept defeat here. Well, it should not get the majority vote. Don't need that. We let it time out a second time. It should send out a vote request, and we vote for it. It should have received now three votes, including the one for itself, and it should have become leader. So why not? Let's go and look. Sorry. Getting ready for work. Okay, ships won't thrust themselves. Well, thanks for coming by. I hope your day goes well. My day is not going so well because this test was supposed to fail. You're supposed to fail test, and you didn't fail. So I'm not understanding something about my own bug. Not a good sign. Raft test, go. What am I working on? So I'm extremely new to game development. I've done a lot of work on embedded software and networking. And so for the first 70 of my streams, I built up, do I have a diagram of it? I have it somewhere. Where did I put it? Notes? Here we go. So I built up my own web server with all these little components, right? Protocol handlers for HTTP and WebSockets, and then a socket layer and JSON, URI, Unicode, all that hash functions, all that stuff. So that was the first 70 streams. And I thought, what am I gonna do with this that would be fun? And I've always wanted to write a game, so I said, oh, I'll make a game server. So there's a link to my ideas for the game there, but I'm working on the back end first. And that is going to be a cluster of servers because I want it to be fault tolerant. I want it to be able to take a server down while people are still playing the game and be as transparent or as invisible as possible, right? As non-invasive as possible. So the game will be on the client end a JavaScript browser game using like Pixie.js or Phaser, and it's going to be like an old school 2D like Ultima 4 kind of game, but multiplayer and with lots of cool things in it, hopefully. Clients will connect to one of these servers. Each server will have a copy of the game state. And to keep them in sync, or what they call having consensus, I picked the Raft consensus algorithm, where servers are constantly talking to each other, and they elect one of their number as a leader, and then the leader replicates state, or makes the final call about state changes in the game state, and then replicates those changes to the other servers. And so today I'm working on integration and test of that leader election system. So I have only 3 servers in my test right now, but one of them should be elected leader. And right now they're like all trying to think of themselves as leader, and it's because of the bugs I have. So green is failure, right? No, I thought red was failure. Red is failure. Green is success. Server black magic, indeed. So I'm going to step into this to see what the state of the server is. Ooh. Why did it step over? I don't like it when that happens. That might be because I made a change and I didn't... No? Did I not build? Ah, I didn't build. That would be why. There we go, receive message. Know nothing of what I'm doing? Well, I'm glad it's interesting. So this is the Raft algorithm when it receives a message. It grabs the current time and sees what kind of message was it. A request vote results. So it finds the who voted for us, and did they grant us the vote? Yes. So here's the bug. It should be 0 and it's 1. So now we have 2 votes. And it will be greater... Oh, wait a minute. How come that didn't work? 2 is greater than or equal to 5 divided by 2 plus 1. Oh, no, it's not. Maybe I'm wrong about this bug. Oh, my math is bad today. I'm just being dumb math-wise. So there are 5 servers. 5 is the subject. If 2 votes for 5, we only have 2 votes. Oh, no, the bug was that it should have reset. Okay, so it is getting reset. So I'm just being crazy. Let me see where that's being done. Okay, yeah, it is being reset. So why are we seeing 3 in the wild? Let me run this, show this again. We were seeing starting election. Server 0 voted for us. Oh, it's counting it after we're the leader. Aha. Okay, yeah. We don't want that. This is a slightly different use case. Okay. I'm off to a rough start today. I completely misunderstood the bug. Instead, it should not reset. Votes, repeat votes should not count. Should not count. Actually, that's an easier thing to test because we do not need to do this at all. we just have 2 vote twice. And it should not become the leader, because if 2 is our only voter, their vote shouldn't count twice. Yeah, see, it actually became the leader, and it shouldn't have, because 2 already voted here. They can't vote again and make us the leader. So right in here, when we receive the vote, this we should only do if they did not vote for us already. So I should say if instance. Oh, hold on. Why is this? This should be after. If we are awaiting a vote, then they voted for us and all this stuff, right? Else it's a special case we probably want to see that they repeat vote received. Repeat vote from server ignored. Okay, that should make the test pass, and then I can... Okay, good. So we can run the real thing now and see if it's improved. Oh, wrong thing. Stage, not serve. Now run the real server. And in this window runs the other instance. Okay, I'm not seeing 3 out of 3 anymore, but we still have the problem where they're both becoming the leader. That is the bug I saw yesterday. We will fix that now. Let me see if I can explain it from the log, what's going on. So this one should be the leader because it started the election. Server 0 voted for it, so we got a majority vote. That's good that we ignored the repeated vote, and it's good that we're sending the heartbeat, but we shouldn't then go vote for one of our followers. Actually, I should be printing out something saying received vote request. Actually, I guess it's implied by that. If we're voting for someone, that means we received a vote request. They all want to be the leader, yeah. So the bug is more... It's more evident here if I find the right place. There's a lot of log messages, so it's kind of hard to see. He was starting an election because there's simply no one to talk to. He's trying to talk to them all along. Then here, instance 1 connected to us. What's going on here? Wait a minute, how could they both be voting for each other? Maybe I'm not understanding the bug. Or I'm not printing out something. Oh, that's right. There might be a term number problem. Let's print out the term number. Kind of want to print out the term number everywhere. What's the term number type, though? Unsigned int. Okay, good. Again, formatted, not just a string. Actually, let's pull it from here. Okay, and then what else? We're already printing out the term numbers there. I will say in term. Actually, we do have a problem in that if our current term is less than the one for request a vote, we should not do this. How do we want to print that out? For term. We are in term. No, we were in term, or we are. That's our current term, and this is the term of the election. I'm handling the greater than, but then the else is not. There should be there's an equal to, and then there's a less than condition. Impl shared. For term 0, we are in term whatever. This one. Oh, not that one. It's in the one from the message. Probably making a mistake here, and I'll find out in a minute. Okay. Have a good day, Mike. Good luck with your localization. Server refused to vote for us in term this one. Hey there, Pawn. How's it going? Okay, my cat's yelling at me from the background. Again, rainy day. He can't go out. He's upset. I actually let him out for a moment. He runs out and he halts, like 2 feet from the door. He starts to get wet. He stares like a deer in headlights stare, right? And then I step outside and he runs back in. Cats, you know. Okay, so stage again and then run. And then run. Yeah, see that how the term number is incrementing wildly? We don't want that. Let me clear this and run it again, though. Just run it for a bit and then Control C because I don't want to see a whole lot of stuff. All right. Instance 0 connected to us. We started an election. We're already in term 4, which is bad. Should be in term 1. Oh, hold on. Stuff happened before that. We already got this. So the Raft algorithm was already running for at least 2 terms, and then we received a vote for server 0. I mean, we received a request from 0. We said, okay, we'll vote for you. We're in term 3. And then there was a timeout, and we started an election. Server 0 voted for us. We got a majority vote. And then for some reason, here's the bug. We were the leader. We were dutifully sending out heartbeats, but for some reason, server 0 started an election. See if I can see that over here. Right, so here, this shouldn't be happening. When you have a timeout during an election, then you shouldn't increase the term unless everyone voted and you knew it was a split. So, because it's not necessary. Where does it say we voted for them first? Oh no, right. It starts out that they... No, hold on. I'm getting confused. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Voting for 0. One voted for us, right? Okay, so yeah, it dropped one connection because the way I have the server set up, they try to connect to each other, and so they end up with 2 connections, and then they both decide which one to drop so that, because you only need 1 connection, and because of that dropped connection, there was a timeout. These heartbeats I think were lost. Then the new connection was established, it dropped the redundant one. Okay, I guess this was okay that we timed out. Oh, right, the bad one is down, it was term 5, right. It's one of those days, you know, my brain is slow. So... You know, I'm not printing out when we're receiving a heartbeat. Am I? That might be why I'm not seeing this right. Because it should have sent 4 heartbeats. These times aren't aligned either, so I can't like compare the timestamps. Let me add receiving a heartbeat message. In term 0, we are in term whatever. That's that one, and then I need the message term. Actually, now that I think about it, did I get these correct? I didn't. Look at that. That's request vote results. Hey there, Ramy. Do I seem familiar? And this is wrong here, right? Oh no, that's the response. The stuff I print out in messages, it needs to be request vote. And this one needs to be request vote results. It looks okay to me. It's a moo! It's a Rymoo. That is correct. Clear this. Clear this. Run the staging command, run the server, run the server. See the problem, exit out, and then look back and see what happened. Okay, so here's the problem. We were the leader in term 9, and then somehow the other server 0 wanted to hold an election, even though that should not have been within the timeout. So what went wrong in term 9? Term 9. We voted for them. We received heartbeats from them, but yet we timed out. Should not have timed out, right? Because we received a heartbeat. I think the problem is I'm not resetting the timeout. Hey there, Pimperson, or should I say Clipperson? Top clipper of 2018. How's it going? I think you're famous. Or no, I think Pimperson's famous for clipping. And Ramy's famous because, hey, it's Ramy. Everyone knows Ramy. Yeah, so I am not resetting the, we're supposed to reset the election timeout when we receive a heartbeat, so that's this reset election timer. We need to do that. Oh, but before I fix the bug, we should make a test to trap it. Okay, we will attempt this thing. We'll call it heartbeat, receiving heartbeat should reset election timer timeout. Okay, so we set ourselves up to be a follower, so we need to receive a heartbeat. I'm just trying to steal from another test if I can. Maybe I didn't actually test this yet. There's when it receives, okay, here's where it receives the heartbeat. So we set it up. We allow it to see a heartbeat. Oh, hold on. That's part of the act, right? Receiving a heartbeat. And then advance the clock. Well, we should advance the clock a little bit. Like, actually, we should just keep sending heartbeats and until we get past the maximum timeout interval, and it fails if it tries to raise an election during any of those times. Okay, so we'll have to repeatedly do this. So we can first advance the timer to right before the minimum election timeout. So minimum election timeout minus some small amount. And then we can say, while it's less than or equal, no. Yeah, less than or equal to the maximum. We'll just keep sending it pings, heartbeats. Right? And we will expect that we shouldn't receive anything. Expect, well, I guess we can stop when we see the first one. So assert true, messages sent empty. And there's no side effect. Okay, so back to the unit tests we go. Raft test, raft test. Oh, that's going to infinite loop, isn't it? Because I didn't advance the time at any point. We should let it run once there, and then we will send it and advance. We do advance it. I just need to advance the clock by some small amount. It passes? No. Oh, that's okay. The initial one we need to, yeah. When it becomes a follower, it resets, right? Hold on. No, this should have still raised the bug. Not raise the bug, hit the bug. Oh no, the first one, yeah, it will hit that. So actually, I should just not do this at all. So it'll starting from 0, it'll just get hit with heartbeats up to the maximum election. It should never raise an election, but I think it will. No? How about times 2? Okay, what am I? Today is just not my day. I'm advancing the clock and waiting and asserting that we don't get anything. Yeah, why am I using Visual Studio Code? Because I want to move to Linux and Mac at a moment's notice. Kind of like being summoned. You have been summoned to Linux. Oh no. Oh, well, at least I'll bring my VS Code with me. Okay, what the heck is going on here? What did my phone just do? My phone was showing me something. Quiet, phone. When in doubt, run it in the debugger. And let me do this while watching the clock. Current time. 4.5. What was the minimum? 0.1. What? Happened to the timekeeper there. Okay, here it should definitely, I think, well, let's go even more. By now, every time it receives this message, it should definitely time out. What's the state of this thing? I was wondering why I preferred VSC over VS. Yeah. Actually, I have to thank Kinkomatics for that, Rami. He helped brainstorm or list out the commands I ought to have. And yeah, he learned it better than I did, apparently. Because I didn't have a whole lot of commands, and then he gave me this whole list, and I was like, oh yeah. Those are useful commands to have. Let's see, what is going on in the shared state here? We're not the leader. Oh, we are updating time of last leader message. Hold on. Oh, I didn't go far enough. No, but this is updated. How is that getting updated? Oh, we're not updating our current term. Shoot. This is another bug. It's a bug on top of another bug. We reverted to follower, but we didn't update our term number. Okay, I think I'm just going to add a backdoor to check that. So that should be the subject of another test, right? Revert to, yeah, after. Actually, look at this. I had a test for it. So my tests are redundant. Oh, well, not completely. This is receiving a heartbeat. This is after reverting to follower. The small pop-up boxes are IntelliSense, or sometimes they are Git lens. So if I hover too much over one of these lines, that's a Git lens pop-up that shows me the commit that last changed that line. But if I hover over something else like a function name or a variable name, that's IntelliSense, which is sort of built into VS Code. You have to have the extension. I have a link to it here. The C++ extension, I think, is the one that brings IntelliSense. This is the one. IntelliSense, there. Okay. I'm just going to build it into this, I think. No, we'll make it a separate test. Update term when receiving heartbeat. So we arrange for it, and then we'll just, the act will be, we send a single message with a heartbeat in term 2. Then we'll assert that server dot and then we're going to put in a backdoor we're going to put in a backdoor here. Actually, the term was in the configuration, right? Yeah, so I can use the get configuration backdoor. Current term, there we go. Expect equal to. That should fail. We can fix that one and then get back to the other test case. So it's 0 instead of 2. Easy enough to fix. When we receive a heartbeat, we update our term. We should print out some. No, we already printed out something. So impl shared. Should put it here, right? Current term equals the term of the heartbeat. There we go. Fixed it. I should explain what I mean by backdoor. So the Raft algorithm is implemented by this class called server, but the server inherits a public I server. That is what I call the public API. So the public API has things that the game server is going to need, or the components of the game server are going to need. So like configuring the algorithm, setting up callbacks, starting and stopping, put in a message, ask it if it's the leader. That used to be private, but I made it public because the game server has to know if it's the leader in order to know when to bind the port that the clients are going to talk to. This is what I call the public API. Now, this also being a class has an API. I've been calling it the concrete API, and there you have things like the constructor of the concrete class, and then these what I've been calling backdoors, like getting the configuration back out, waiting for one worker loop to happen, resetting things, right? So these things are not intended to ever be used in the real game server. They're in the internal or concrete API of the class. They're only used right now in the unit tests. So the way I fit things together is through dependency injection. So the main program, so to speak, it's got two main purposes. It implements the main function, which just creates each component of the server and hooks them together. So the second, actually, I just said what both of them are. It has the main function. That's the first purpose. Second purpose is to create all the components and hook them up. And hooking them up is having each one given a pointer to the others that it needs. And the trick is the pointer you give isn't going to be server, it's going to be the I server. So the coordinator has a Raft I server, not a Raft server. So in the real server code, I'm saying the word server too much. In the real game, these are not accessible. They're only used by the unit test framework. So I'll call them backdoors for that reason. Okay, so that should have fixed that test, right? I didn't build it, I guess. I did build it. Oh, it passed that test which it failed last time. Failed update term. Now it's passing update term and failing the test I did expect it to fail. Right, because it's now timing out. So that fix is to, in addition to setting the term, we need to reset the election timeout. I guess I called it timer some places and timeout in other places. Okay, so back to testing the real server. Realm server host, realm conditional instance 0. And then we go to this one, clear its screen, run instance 1. Okay, cool. So it immediately became the follower. We have a problem with the term being incremented too far. So if this were to die, now it's trying to raise elections. I want to fix this because it's really bugging me. We shouldn't be incrementing the term unless it really is a split vote. A split vote will be everyone voted, but we didn't get a majority. And then we subsequently time out. Tend to avoid personally. I guess I missed. What is it that you tend to avoid personally, Deo? I think I saw your message a little too late. All right. Right, so let's make a test where a term should not increment on split vote. Do not increment. Do not increment term when starting new election after split vote. So I'm going to take from the test case where we did have a split vote. Yeah, let's take from here. Come on. Actually, this one's nice here. Almost wins election. Because that's what we want. We wanted that everyone voted. But we had 3 votes nay and 1 vote yay, and then they voted for themselves. So that's, they lost, they only had 2 votes out of 5. That's now part of the arrange, right? The act would be we let it time out again, and we make sure the term is not 2, it should still be at 1. The term starts out at 0 when we first configure this configuration. The term, I guess we could be explicit about it. Current term 0. Oh, the backdoor. Yeah. A lot of the time when you're testing units, you're checking side effects, right? Side effects, by their very nature, are sometimes hard to see from a public API. And it's not strictly a black box test anymore, because the thing you're testing really is designed to work in a larger system. But in order just to test the one thing, you're gonna tend to want to open that thing up and see like internal things about it. And it also makes the test easier to write and to understand when you're reading it. So like the current term here, it's very easy if we have this backdoor to get the configuration to read it and say, oh yeah, well, we expect it to be 2, right? You wish you knew how to make tests. Well, I mean, from the very simplest test would be you just, it's like a little mini program that is just doing one thing. You try to do the smallest thing and then check to see if it did what you wanted. Yeah, thanks, Usbach. And hello, by the way. I don't think I've said hello yet. Just type make test, yeah. Auto make will do it for you, or GNU make will do it for you, right? I want to here advance one more election timeout. And we will assume the side effect that we received a vote request. So expect or assert. I'm sure I have this code somewhere up here. Let me find it. Oh, thanks for the follow, Usbach. Here we go. This is what I want to copy from. So, what do I have the maximum set to? I kind of risk having it double timeout, don't I, when I do that? Let's make that 1.5. I have to let it run one more loop, and we should get 4 messages out, and they should all be a request to vote, and it should be in term 1, but right now we'll get term 2, and then we'll fix it. Okay, Raft tests, we go. So there we go. We actually got, oh, I forgot to clear it out. All the messages sent from the first election are still there, so we need to clear them out right here. I don't have a learn link. I need one of those. You know, I predict that eventually my commands will converge with Adam's. actually need to think about that. I always hesitate to give people advice on how to learn programming because every situation is different. Right, so we expect term 1, but it's in term 2. So now we've arranged the test. Now how do we make it work? Well, the timeout part, we can be a little bit clever there, I think. In start new election, before we touch any state, we can look to see, well, if we were a candidate and we receive votes from everyone, then it's a split, and we won't increment the term right here. Let me break this up. So here we'll decide to increment the term, and here we'll take the current term, which means I really should refactor this up into smaller functions. So this will be send out initial vote requests. This one is start new election. Well, the whole process is starting the election. So what do I want to say here? Become a candidate? Oh, this is part of that. This is part of this. So set ourselves up as a candidate in this term. Vote for ourselves. Do candidates ever not vote for themselves? You have 80 commands from the time you did the bot for Linux. Okay, so here we want to say start a new term unless the last term ended, unless the current term, unless the last election was a split vote. Actually, if we're, yeah, everyone will have participated and everyone will know it's a split vote. Because why? Actually, they won't. They only know that they voted no. Well, they would have voted no because they were a candidate themselves. I might be getting this wrong. I might need to consult the algorithm. Consult the algorithm. It's this little thingy. What does it do when we pause and we start 2 elections? Actually, let's have them all try to become leader. Except for one. I want this one to be the one that goes for the election second. Now we have this one timeout. Does it go to term 3 or not? Let's see. It does go to term 3. Okay. That answers that. So if we do have a split, there's a split election right there. What happens if one of these times out? Okay, it does go to a third. But then how does it know? Like, if we don't have a majority running, and one of them times out, sure, it goes to 2, but then it times out. Maybe it's doing the right thing. And I'm just being dumb. Okay. So maybe I just need to accept that the term should increment every single time and withdraw my test. I'm gonna go with the fact that I was probably, or not the fact, the guess that I was probably wrong. That this test is not valid. Okay. It's good to be able to admit when you're wrong. I was wrong about that whole thing. And we'll move on to the next problem. So back to being tests are good, right? So this is going to count the term numbers, which is, we'll have to accept that. I think in the real world, all the servers should start almost simultaneously, so the term shouldn't increment too far. Okay, now we have a leader. And let's start on a third one. Realm server, realm candinal, instance 2. Cool. Now what happens when this guy dies? This guy became the server. And when he starts up back up, he's a follower. My heartbeat interval is very quick. So we'll have this follower die and start back up again. And we can see that we didn't have to start a new election. It's only when the leader dies that these two start up an election. And this one became the leader. So we'll kill the leader again. Which one became this? This one became the leader. So then we kill the leader again. Who became the leader now? This one became the leader. I think this is cool now. So you kill the leader. Who's the leader now? 2 is the leader. Is it going around in a circle? It should be random. It actually is going around in a circle, isn't it? It's going around round robin, but it shouldn't. What happens if I'll kill a follower first, then kill the leader? He's trying to start an election, but he can't get a majority vote. Start this guy. He becomes a leader. Cool. All right. It's actually pretty solid now, isn't it? One of these becomes the leader pretty quickly. Kill the leader. Which one's the leader now? This one's the leader. Could have sworn there was one more bug, though. I was hoping to run into it. I was looking at this yesterday. So when we receive a vote request, okay, yeah, so it's sort of an edge case. You can imagine, what if we're in term 100 and the request comes in to vote for term 0? It won't be less, 100's not less than 0. So it'll go to this else if. And it'll actually look at the wrong variables. It really should reject the vote request outright. It shouldn't look at whether or not it voted this term for that one server, because it could have voted for them. And now that server has restarted and has lost its memory. I think I need to have this handle the edge case where a vote request comes in for a really old term. It should just reject it without checking this. Oh, sorry, playing with scissors. For some reason that notification sound is not happening, and I was super concentrated on this. How did I come up with the name for the game? I am really bad at coming up with names. So I kept trying to think of cool names and I'd look them up, and yeah, someone else has already used that name for something. Either a song, a book, another game, or a story or something. So what I ended up doing was I took a phrase that was somewhat relevant to what I wanted to do. So I wanted to make a game where there are potentially many different worlds and you go through doorways or passages to go between them. So I thought like all worlds or I settled on all realms because realm is sort of a cool word. That means the same thing as world, or realm, kingdom, world. And I said, well, let's see what that is in Latin. So in Latin, all realms or all kingdoms is omnia regna. And sure enough, no one had used the name for anything. The domain name was wide open, so I got the domain name, and yeah, that's basically it, right? You're staking the claim to the name. Why would it be random if they keep their original timeout? The timeout, whenever they time out, let me find that. Start election. No, not start election. It's reset something, right? Oh, what did I call it? Reset election timer. It selects a timeout in amongst a uniform distribution between the minimum and the maximum using a random number generator. So let's say you have 3 servers, and actually it's easier to just illustrate it. You can see these all have different timeouts left. This one's is the minimum, so it's gonna end up timing out first. Wait for it. Actually, I'll speed it up a little bit. So you see S4 timed out first and became the leader. So what happens if I stop the leader is the one that will time out first becomes a leader. So it could be any one of these 4. It really depends on what they picked for the next election timeout. So this one, S3, is the lucky one. It will end up timing out first. Oh no, S1 was. How did that happen? Oh, I didn't notice. S1 had slightly shorter time. Actually, they both timed out, right? They both timed out. And S1 got votes from S2 and 5, so it actually won, even though S3 tried to vote for itself. So it got 3 out of 4. Anyway, yeah, they're randomized. I don't know why in my arrangement it seems to go round robin, but it should be random. I mean, I guess I could run it long enough and see that. It probably would make more sense to use a longer timeout intervals, because I'm killing them manually, and or a wider distribution. I should do that to make sure that it is random, though, shouldn't I? Yeah, so this edge case, I think I want to handle. How's best to recreate this? Actually, the only real way to recreate this is for a server to come back up in an old term and try to become the leader. That would be very unlikely. We should still test it, though. Perfectly normal for them to be circular? Yeah. It shouldn't be, though. I think it was just a coincidence. Kill more followers. See, right now I only have 3 servers, so my choice is just 2, one or the other. You kill a follower and then kill the leader? Oh look, these guys are still going. I never did stop them. Okay, so here's the server. Kill him. Oh no! Look, it went this way. It went clockwise instead of counterclockwise that time. So now I'll kill him. It's going clockwise now. Went to that guy. Was it going clockwise before and I was just being dumb? Oh, see, no, it went back to here that time. It jumped back down to down. This is 0, 1, 2. It went from 1 back to 2, where it had gone from 2 to 1. So it is random. I was just being. It's just unpredictable. Now it jumped back to 0 that time. And there it's jumped to 2. And there it jumped to 1. And there it jumped to 0. To 2. to 1 to 0 to, okay, it is going in a clockwise circle now, to 1. Oh, what's that? Oh, I broke it. I think I broke it. Oh, I broke it. Look at that. I have 2 leaders somehow. Oh, what did I do there? Am I going to be able to see that? It might be lost in the log. Oh, no, here we go. So it was term 108. We have a problem in term... Oh, no, look at that. Look at that. That shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be able to go back. We shouldn't be able to go back. Oh, I'm not handling that. A stale heartbeat from an old server shouldn't allow the old leader to come back. Don't know how to explain this without a wiper. When a leader dies, whoever has less timeout becomes leader. The former leader gets respawned and has a full timeout. Well, it's randomized. They could come back and be lucky enough to roll the minimum timeout. Maybe the timeouts random jitters are so tiny. Yeah, it could be. But here I captured a case where it did something really bad. So term 107, something really bad happened. Let me see if I can find what each server's perspective was about term 107. Wait a minute. Why did we remained a candidate even though we should have reverted to a follower? I think server 1 misbehaved here. No, which one is which? This server right here misbehaved in that it went back a term. It obeyed a heartbeat from an old server. This one seemed to disobey by... Why doing what? It voted for server 0, but then asked server 0 to vote for us, so that shouldn't happen. Did server 0 do something funny in term 108 or 7? When a new server starts up, how does it know how to join the cluster? Like, oh, it does have to know the IP addresses, so that's not covered by Raft. I am just doing something super simple now in that all 3 servers are given the full picture of the configuration, and they're just told which realm and which index in the server list that they are. So they bind their ports. So whatever starts up the servers has to only start one of each one. Otherwise, you're going to get it. You're going to get 2 servers pretending to be trying to be the same identity. Okay, what happened here? So server 1 was a leader on 105. I don't see the 106 message though. It says we already voted for server 1 in term 106, but I don't see that. Where's the voting for server 1? Yeah, 105 crashed. That's why we see this close. How did the term get incremented? So for some reason, it got a I guess 2 raise the election first. Right. So 2 tried to start a new election. And for some reason, 0 refused, saying, hey, I already voted for 1. Meanwhile, 1... What happened with 1? Oh, 1 is the one I crashed. It was in 105. Right, it's the leader of 105. I killed it. It comes back up. The first thing it hears is from server 0 saying that they're the leader. So yeah, these 2 down here or the one on the right and the one on the bottom left ended up trying to be leaders of different terms. Wait a minute, when I crashed this leader, how did 0 become the leader of 107? How did that happen? Starting new election. Wait a minute. Starting a new election and then voting for someone in an old term? Okay, that shouldn't happen. Okay, it actually got a vote in 107. Yes, that was the vote it got. Oh, but 2 got confused because it got a vote in an old term 106? But then what happened to 108? It timed out. Huh. These timeouts actually might be happening because I'm running the code with very short timeouts. The code is not an optimized build, and it's printing a lot of stuff. It's a debug build, so I guess these timeouts can happen. I don't know which one it closed here. I really should print out which server that is for. Yeah. Why am I using? Because I'm dumb. I should increase them. Let's increase them. I kind of don't want to lose these logs, though, right? Because there are a couple problems here. Let me try to capture the essence of what I see wrong here from each server's point of view. This I should not see. In fact, it changed its vote. There are multiple things wrong with this. I'm just going to put this in the notes. Server confusion. Example. 0. 1. How do I get a new bullet? New bullet. From 1's point of view, I think this is the most behaving one, right? Oh no, yeah. It's trying to behave, and it's receiving heartbeats from 2 different servers. I need to actually hit controls. Whoa. What happened there? I need to hit Control C there. There we go. And then 2. It shouldn't have tried to requesting a vote. That's one thing it did wrong. Thought it did something else too. It shouldn't have raised a vote. Wait a minute, 0 thought I was in 108? Okay, so they eventually both agreed on term 108. They just thought they were both the leader. So why did this keep getting 107s from 0? Why is this saying 107? Oh no, okay, they eventually agreed. At some point it changed its mind. At some point, 0 changed its mind and updated its term right there. Let me put that in instead. Biting the cursor here. Okay, so when did it change its mind? Come on, cursor. Ending heartbeat. Oh, equal term. Yeah, so that shouldn't. I think this is a case it's not supposed to be possible. You're not supposed to. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is wrong. It never reverted from being a leader. Did I capture that in the log? No, let me capture that in as well. Yeah, isn't this contradictory? Why did it reject the vote and then vote for it? And then, actually, it's already established itself as a server, and then somehow it gets really confused. All right, I need to take a minute break and clear my head, and then I'll try to approach these problems one at a time, I think. So I will be right back. Just a minute or two. All right, back with my semi-transparent. Can you see that? Flying cats in space shirt. Received heartbeat from server 1. I think I want to see more from server 2. What went wrong? This one down here. Tried to run for election on 106. Got 2 refusals. Server 107 must server 0 timed out and started an election for 107. We voted for them. We should not have remained a candidate. That's one problem. I think I might know where that is. Oh, that's the one I copy pasted. So I should put here. Server 2 should have reverted to follower when it voted for 0 in term 107. Instead, it apparently tried to be. It apparently acted as a candidate in term 107. So that's one problem. Now let me identify the problem with 1 here. Right, well that's obvious, right? No, it's not obvious. I think it's when it reverted back. Oh no, this is the most behaving one, right? Except for this. Is that what I captured? No, I didn't capture that. 0 and 107. 2 and 108 was in 107. Yeah, so I needed this line too. It went back a term. Shouldn't have done that. Want my bullet. Okay, server 1. Was it in a bad predicament? Predicament? Both 0 and 2 claimed to be... Actually, they didn't claim to be servers in the same term, did they? It was in different terms? Okay, eventually it got it. Yeah, I should show this, all of this here. Claim to be leader in term 108. However, it should have ignored heartbeats from term 107 once it got a heartbeat from server 2 in 108. Instead, it actually reverted back from term 108 to 107. Okay, now what did 0 do wrong? It did a bunch of things wrong. Okay, it voted twice in term 106. Somehow it voted twice. Term 106 for both 1 and 2. And then it continued to do bad things, right? Once it got to be leader in 107. Yeah, right. It was briefly leader in 107. Then supplanted in 108, but still acted as a leader. All right. They should not vote unless their vote is requested. But yeah, if they respawn and a vote is being requested, they will respond, and they should always start up as a follower. So they should always immediately cast their vote to the first candidate that asks for it. So which one do I want to handle first? I think there are actually 3 different bugs here. I think this one's easier. When we get a heartbeat and it's an old term, we're supposed to ignore it. Yeah, I probably just don't have the right code here. Yeah, so let's say our current term is greater than the heartbeat term. We're still overriding it, so let me make a test case for that. Ignore heartbeat from old term. So we'll send it a heartbeat from a new term. And then we'll send an old one from a different server, I guess. So that doesn't really matter. Oh, we're being raided by Mr. Muffles Dev. How'd your stream go, Mr. Muffles? Hey there, Pyro Shade. And there's the host event. Got the host and the raid. I am doing okay. I'm struggling with getting a server cluster going. Oh, thanks for the follow, Pyroshade. Let me give a brief overview of what I'm doing. So, I just started working on a multiplayer online game. I've never made one before, but I've done a lot of work in the past on low-level C++, like embedded stuff, and I'd spent the first 70 streams since June until late October making my own web server in C++, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this web server? Let's do something fun. So I decided to make a game, and it's not yet playable, but it's gonna be in the grain of retro 2D. Think Ultima 4, but multiplayer. And I want to get it up pretty quickly, but it won't be fun at first. But I want it to evolve over time. So I'll be building the game while people are in there helping me test it, and to make it fun, right? So today I'm working on getting the server cluster up, and I'll explain what that means in a second. Raid's auto host. And I need to teach stream elements that if it's a raid, don't show the host as well. I don't know if I can teach it that. Anyway, my notebook is all public, and today there's a today link there. So I want my game servers to be fault tolerant, and maybe even have these do some load balancing as well. But we'll get to that. Fault tolerance requires that you have multiple servers. But if you have multiple servers and you only want one game, that means you want the same game state on all servers. They have to all agree on what the current state of the game is like all the time. They're always having to keep each other up to date. So they'll be talking to each other to exchange information. And the problem in general, I think it's called consensus, server consensus. And so Adam13531 gave me a tip to look at a white paper about the Raft consensus algorithm. And there's also raft.github.io. Do I have a command for Raft yet? I do not. And I want to make one. So let me make a note. Add Raft command. But I have links here to it, and it's a pretty neat algorithm. It looks like this, where S1 here is the lead server, and let's say it goes down. Then after a short timeout interval, which these three pick at random, they'll kick off a new election, and one of them will become the new leader. Their S3 kicked off the election, and hey, everyone voted for it, so now it's the new leader. Then you can have the old servers start up again. So, and they quickly catch up when they receive these, what they call either heartbeat or a append log RPC call. Anyway, the idea of having a cluster of servers that are all in the same state and one of them is elected the leader is what I'm trying to implement. Just doing the leader election process right now, and we had some entertaining bugs, which I tried to capture in the log here. But if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. I also have a Discord, which is a fledgling new Discord. There's not much there, but please feel free to ask questions there if you want to. So I use test-driven development mostly. Let me spam that. I'm spamming all my commands this morning. So a lot of the time you'll see me doing something like this, where I just run my unit tests. And all the tests I've written up until now should pass. If any of them break, then I go back and fix them. Anything new I add the test first, and it looks like this. And I was just working on that when you guys came in. So the test, right now I haven't finished writing it, but once I finish writing it, if I did it right, it'll capture one of the bugs I found just now, and it'll fail. The fail indicates that I'm recreating the bug. Then I fix the bug by making the test pass. So if I did the test correctly, the only way to make it pass is to do the right thing. What am I planning on using for the game engine-wise? Do I have an engine command? I don't think I do. But for... let me go back to the diagram for that. For this client, it's probably going to be JavaScript in the browser, using either Pixie.js or Phaser. Actually, did I have a note for that? And yeah, there we go. Actually, I need to update this. I was going to go with Pixie.js, but then Adam told me to look at Phaser also. And the idea is to be easily run by anyone. So on PC, when Windows, Linux, Mac, or on mobile. So whether you have a phone or not, you should be able to play my game. And I think I mentioned it here too. Yeah, client, JavaScript, probably React, Pixie.js, Phaser. Someone suggested Third.js. I looked into that, and that looked cool for 3D graphics. But since I was thinking top-down retro 2D, I'll probably just stick with this. It's also simpler, and I need to start with something simple because I'm a C++ guy mostly. JavaScript I'm scared of still. Oh, really? Like Unity, Unreal, Godot? Oh, okay. Pixie.js, I already got something, a toy thing working, and I was happy with it. It did. All I really needed to do is draw rectangular glyphs. So like if anyone knows Ultima series, the old ones like 3, 4, and 5, they were just like 32 by 32, and there you would flip every tick or so to another rendition of the. But that was it as far as graphics. The rest of it's pretty much text. Scared of the infinite JS library. I'm scared of JS in general, but I'll eventually get there. Right now, I need to establish my servers in the cloud, fault tolerant and all that, and have some minimal game state. And then by then I'll be forced to start doing the client. But until then, it's all boring back-end server stuff. So if you don't like C++, seems boring, maybe come back in a few months and I might be working on JavaScript, and there might actually be some fledgling sense of a game you can try out. So one of the bugs I think I just ran into is heartbeats come in. A heartbeat is a message the leader sends, but we're having an old leader, like someone who's been deposed, continuing to send out the message, and then we're receiving it here. So old term, and which it should, right now what was happening, if I can go to the log, is it was reverting back. It was going back to term 107, even though we were in 108, so that shouldn't be allowed. Thanks for the follow. Let me see that. Karana TV, thanks for the follow. So I had a way right here, through a side effect, or a way to test a side effect. We could peek into the server and ask it what its current term is. It should say that it's in term 2, not 1. The bug right now will be that it will say 1, I believe. Oh, I cannot redefine message. That would be a problem. So did I miss any messages? There were quite a lot, and I'm not used to high volume. You can always tag me in the message if you think I might have missed it. As input at Raimu8354. The thing about Java that's script that scares me is a lot of the functional programming in React framework and other frameworks. There's not so much, at least I'm not so familiar with C++ functional programming. Most of it's imperative, right? All right, so let's run this unit test. It should fail now. It fails. It got back into term 1. It shouldn't be allowed. So the way to fix it, we apply the fix now, would be, we only do that if it's greater than, or, well, if it's greater than, right? Actually, aren't those the same? Should I just be putting that into there? I think we only want to reset the election timer if it, no, we want to, that's right, we want to reset the election timer, but not if it's an old term. So I should also test that. So let's make a variant of this test. Before I get too far ahead of myself, though, let me comment that out and verify that that test is now fixed. Test should be fixed now. Yeah, it is. So move on. So the idea with these tests, by the way, it might look like I'm programming backwards, and I am. You get a lot of benefit over the long run, though. Short term, there's the cost of making the tests. People don't like it because it slows them down. But in the long run, I now have 40 tests that I can run at any point. It only takes a second and a half to run them. And any kind of bug I might introduce, hopefully the tests catch them. If the tests don't catch them, I go back and add a test that does. So you can imagine that over time, this builds to a point where I might have hundreds of tests, and any one thing that might break something probably will, over the long run, will probably be caught by a test. And that's awesome because the tests are only for one component of the server. So I'm isolating and testing each component of the server by itself. The idea is you want to dramatically reduce the number of bugs that make it to the integration stage, which is the point where it sucks because you don't know what component the bug might be in, and it's just a nightmare to debug the actual game, right? I'd rather debug the game in pieces and put the pieces together and see that they work well. And for the most part, this has been working, although some bugs do sneak by. Most of them I'm able to recreate in the unit test environment and fix them. Some of them, though, you'll never catch all the bugs. Some of them make it through and there's nothing you can do about it. So, all right. Receiving a heartbeat should not. Receiving heartbeat from old leader, old term, should not reset. I should probably reword this one. Receiving a heartbeat from same term. Yeah, and then this one, well, the other test cases handle receiving a heartbeat from a greater term. That's where we test reverting to follower. All right. So we need to establish the term. Let's make it current term is 42, because that's such an awesome number. And then the idea here is that we keep sending heartbeats from server 2, and it says we're in term 2. Actually, we can just make this 13, because it's evil. And the idea here is, in the old test, we assert that we never get any messages sent by server 5. In this case, though, we will. And actually, then I don't need to loop. I just need to advance to that time and verify that we do get a message, right? Let me think about this. No, actually, we want the heartbeats to have no effect in resetting the election time. Now, we should actually get... The election happens as soon as it tries to send a message to request votes. So... I'll just keep it simple. I'll say election started equals false. And then we'll say if it's not empty, then an election was started. And then we can break at that point. We don't need to keep going. We just assert, well, a side effect? It's a direct effect. Keep it here. Assert true election was started. And this test we want to fail at first. Hey there, multiple pixels. I'm doing well. How are you? I'm fixing bugs in my Raft consensus algorithm. Okay, that didn't fail. Boo. That should have failed. Oh, did it not even compile? I didn't notice. I wasn't looking. That's why it failed to fail. In fact, it is infinite looping. Oh, I screwed that up, didn't I? How come I didn't get a warning for that? Shouldn't the compiler warn me about that? I think Visual Studio does. In fact, let me test that theory, just because I'm curious. I'll go to the alternate build system here. I have another build directory for Visual Studio, and if you're wondering why am I using Visual Studio Code and not Visual Studio all the time, it's because I want to be able to move to Linux and Mac at a moment's notice. But I still have Visual Studio around for things like this. Because I believe if I were to build this in Visual Studio, it would warn me about what I just did there. I had an equal assignment inside of a while loop, which It's something you kind of want the compiler to warn you about. Okay, where is it? Here. No, here. Right, that I should get a compiler warning when I build. If I don't, I'll be sad. Bible thump and all that. Oh, I haven't built this in Visual Studio in a while. This might take a minute. Come on, 16 CPU cores, build that thing. Another reason I don't like Visual Studio so much is I can't zoom in on the Chrome around here. Or the, what do you call it, different windows. What? No warning? Sad face. This should give you a warning. I bet you Clang or GCC would give you a warning. That's doing an assignment in a loop. No, I do not want to upgrade to 15.9 right now. Thank you very much. 16 CPU cores, that's right. How's it going? KHPS official? Right, so this should have been less than or equal to. Otherwise, it's going to keep resetting the time. Right. So run the thing, please. There we go. Oh, thanks for the follow, Lovety. So, election was not started, but we actually want it to be started because these messages here should be ignored because they're in an old term. So all of that framework basically to test one line here, right? Which is that we should only reset it if it is greater than or equal. No, less than or equal. Well, if it's less than, it'll be set to equal, right? So we can just say if it equals. Actually, revert to follower resets it. So I can properly make this an else. So it's either less than equal. If it's greater than, we ignore it. And I could print something that says we ignored it. I'm already printing something all the time anyway. So yeah, that'll cover it. I tend to chatter too much, by the way. I hope that doesn't bug too many people. All right, so that should have handled this weird thing that happened here, where it reverted. Now, see all these servers, all three of the servers, when I was really testing this about half an hour ago, they all did something weird. What did server 2 do here? Right, it voted for a server, but then it remained to be a candidate. It stuck as a candidate. So let me see if I can see that in the code and then recreate a test case for it. Chattering. The problem is I chatter, but then I also have a problem where I say the wrong words. I guess because I'm only using part of my brain to talk. I'll say the wrong word and it'll be like, why did he say that? Okay, what am I looking for? Receiving a vote, right? We receive stuff in receive message. Here we go. This I need to refactor out. This is horrible. Each of these cases ought to be its own function. And I know and I apologize, but I'm going to refactor later. Remember the order of events in making software. Number 1, make it work. Number 2, make it right. Number 3, make it fast. So I make it work. Making it right is coming second, and that's where I refactor this code to clean it up. And then make it fast is optimization. Yeah, I think I've only had positive things out of the streaming. It's forced me to get a lot more organized, and I get a lot of practice talking. It's kind of weird, though. I always feel like I'm talking to myself or to the wall. To the camera. Camera looks like a dead thing staring at me, but I have to remember it's a bunch of real people on the other end of the wire. Okay, it received a vote. Request. Vote request. Here we go. Oh, this is bad. This is saying if we're in an old term, we just update our term. It doesn't, we might still be a candidate. We need to revert to follower if this happens. I think this is the problem. Because what happened here? Oh, it's the same term. Actually, there was more to the log. Let me look at the actual log. I think I still have it up. That's server 1. Here's server 2. Ah, I see. It's a combination of all these. I should have really captured more. So the problem is a little bit more insidious here. So server 2 decided to run for election on term 106. Server 0 stubbornly refused to vote for it. Then apparently server 0 started an election for term 107. We voted for them, but then we continued to be a candidate in that term. So that would be, we were a candidate in 106. We got, right, it went into this code here. Our current term 106 was less than 107. We updated our term, but then we didn't revert to follower like we should have. So let me see if I can set up a test case for that. Let's name it first. I like ridiculously long names, even though some of my viewers hate that. The reason is when I collapse all my tests here and I'm just looking through my menu of test cases, I can just read these ridiculously long names to figure out what the test is all about. Like, the candidate should revert to follower when same or greater term heartbeat received. So in this case, it would be the same thing. Candidate should revert to follower when greater term request vote received, right? So this test case can begin along the same lines. It needs to become a candidate, and then it needs to receive a request to vote in a new term. Let me be explicit about the term. Let's start at 0, and then when it times out here, it'll go to 1 and it'll be a candidate. And then a vote request comes in saying, vote for me in 2. And then I guess this is the way we test on how it reverted. Right, it reverted by, we wait for a while and see that no messages were actually sent. If a message was sent, it means it was trying to get votes. Friend of yours got mad because you named a div with a huge line of words, about 50 letters long. I can understand that. One concession I might make is if people really can't read it, I could do this. I don't mind doing that, I guess. Then you read it like a sentence. But I'll wait until people really complain. Would I advise someone to learn C++ and get a junior job in C++ nowadays? So it depends. People have been asking me that a lot. Think about, I was going to make a learn command for that. Add learn command. I think I'll say now what I plan to put in that command is it really depends on the situation. The key factors I think are, oh, my camera is getting a little blue around the edges. The key factors are that I don't have a about or help, but I have a, do I have a frequently asked questions? Ooh, I don't even have that. Fail. I should add these, right? What should they go to? I have today. Today is the closest I can think of. So sorry, I got distracted. It depends on the situation, and the number one key factor I think is, what do you want? Are you trying to get a job that pays well? Get a job that you like? I would think that if you just want to learn, it depends on how much programming you already know. If you don't know anything, I would say no to C++, learn something easier. If you like games, or developing games, probably C# or JavaScript would be the way to go now. But if you're like me and you like to do back-end stuff too, PHP or C++ is fine. There's a lot of jobs out there for C++, but you really have to enjoy doing it. Otherwise, you might get trapped into something you don't like. So, and C++ is being an old language, has a lot of history and a lot of crud in it. It's not such a clean language like a modern one like C# or Java would be. Yeah, so it really depends on what you want. What are you gonna try to get into? You might find that you learn, let's say you learn C#. You might then look at C++ and say, hey, it looks almost the same, and it pretty much is. So pick something that I would say pick something that you enjoy for the first thing. Look for a job in that, and if you can't find one, then you'll at least find that it's easier to learn C++ if you started with C# or Java. Just learn something that you enjoy. Advent of code in C++. Ran into templating error. Ooh, yeah, templates can be nasty things. I try to stay clear of them. Templates are what's called metaprogramming, where you're not coding a class, you're coding a recipe to make a class later. Error messages are really bad in C++, especially with templates, which is one reason why if you're looking to learn C++ or picking something else, you might want to pick something else if uh, if you're not into trying to decipher painful to read error messages. I'd like to switch from front-end developer to strictly back-end developer. Ooh, unordered map. I'm still not convinced why one would use such a thing. Convince me why unordered map is better than map. Yeah, so switching to backend, there's a lot of variety there. There's a lot of backend stuff in PHP. JavaScript, Node.js is backend, right? Or you can get into database stuff. Or I don't think you can go wrong with C++ since there's like a large breadth of stuff available, front end, back end. But I think you have to kind of enjoy the language. Yeah, Above Seagull's got the right idea. There's a lot of other languages in the back end. I still think you can't go wrong with C++, but you have to enjoy it. C++ has such a wide mass of stuff already out there. I mean, it's like if you're into business programming, you'll probably, if you don't know COBOL, you'll probably be asked to learn it. And that's an ancient language. Okay, where was I? I hadn't yet written the test for this, but I had spotted the bug, and I was writing the test, yes, so... Yeah, so I think this was good. I just needed to build it and run it. This should recreate the bug. It recreates the bug. So, we expect no messages. We get a message. We shouldn't have got a message, right? Let me make sure. I'm gonna look at that message to make sure it is what I expect. Messages sent. One message sent. The message is request vote results. Oh no, it's not the one I expected, so I didn't get this right. Huh. Did I have to get the term right? Let's step through it. I want to make sure that the test recreates the bug situation. So receive message. I can collapse this a little bit and we don't need that. Request vote. Okay, yeah, here we go into it. Oh, I think the problem is not only is it that we're a candidate, but that we have not... No, it should, okay, let me look at this. Trying to remember what's the situation where we actually retransmit vote requests. Retransmissions, yes. Yeah, the awaiting vote stuff. So that's in instances. Right, so it should go into this retransmissions. Based off of the oh, maybe I didn't set the RPC timeout. Let's put a breakpoint there and hit go. .015. And oh, I should go to that point. Is the okay, I didn't get something right in the test, I guess. I didn't advance the time. I do advance the time. Maybe we're not at the point I thought we were at. Okay, yeah, we haven't advanced the clock yet. So go to there. In between there and there, this should happen one more time. So now it's 0.3. That's the difference is 0.1. Oh, okay, yeah, so it should queue it. It doesn't. Is it not awaiting vote? I need to open this up again. This is sort of painful. I have to dig down to find it. Not awaiting a vote. Huh. Okay. The plot thickens. Okay, I'm gonna go step through that again. Okay. It forms a response. Okay, somewhere between here and here, it decided to revert to follower. Let's see that. When did that happen? Okay. Yeah. I see what happened. So let's reset. I need to turn that one off. When we step in there, our term was 1, and then we updated to 2. And then we're looking at our term again. So this is wrong. It's going to pretend it's the same term, and it's going to say, yeah, it's basically saying, did we haven't voted yet, so we're going to vote for them, and we're going to revert to follower. So I need to recreate a situation where we voted for them already. Oh, this is ugly. Ugly, ugly. I think this must have not been cleared. This is going to be really difficult to test. I might just bail out on trying to recreate the bug and just fix it. As bad as that sounds. But really, we should not be changing our term and then looking at it again here. If I can get this one out of the way, it might be easier to test this. So Or I might fix the bug in a different way. What if I make a test? Greater term. No, we have to. Okay, yeah, it's just going to be harder to arrange. We have to vote for someone, and then we have to get elected, and then someone else has to try to raise an election that's not the one we voted for. So it's 3-step. Gosh, this is going to be complicated. It's sort of a convoluted test too. So really, it's not that the bug isn't that the candidate should revert to. It's that term should not be up. Yeah, this is just messed up. I'm doing the trade study in my head. Which is worth more? Having a test for make sure I don't do this bad thing, or fix it and move on. I'm gonna move to fix and move on. We're gonna abandon that. Well, I guess we could keep it. That's not a bad test. It's just it doesn't test what we wanted to test here. Thanks for the follow, Sangin3D. I'm gonna assume the 4 is an A, or stands for an A, and say it's Sangin3D. Yeah, this we should not do here. Actually, we should just combine it with here, right? Actually, hold on. I can combine this into here because it's only if they're equal should we do this other stuff here. If it's the same term and we voted for someone else, we rejected. I just have to make sure this is set when we vote for ourselves. And then we can remove this, and I just need to update the term up here. Actually, yeah. Goes here. This I have to make sure we set to true when we vote for ourselves. Start election. Voted for us. Hey there. Oh, yes, I pooped. And you just created this account a couple days ago, probably to get streamers to say that. I don't mind saying that. If my son was here, he'd laugh. This is why I don't set up my stream with the family friendly tag. So that if I want to, I can say hello to people like, oh, I broke stuff. Ooh, this is why unit tests are good. Receive vote request greater term when follower. Oh, let me clear that because I'm having scroll bar issues. All right, so the term got set to 0. I need to look and see what the context of that is on line 826. Receive vote request greater term win follower. I guess it's because this was 0. We receive one for term 1. And then we expected to respond back with term 1. Oh, I think I know why. Because when we respond back, we copy the term number, right? Oh, I didn't even fill it in. Where is it filled in? Yeah. We always want to, oh, hold on. There was a special caveat to this, though. It was in the white paper. Current term for candidate to update. So yeah, so we need to put in the greater of the two. Yes. So to fix, so I did the code poorly before, and then when I when I changed the code, it broke the test. So really, what we want to do is the maximum of the two. Maximum of our term and their term. When you use standard max and min, you want to include algorithm, by the way. Let's see if that fixed it. Okay. I think it fixed it, and this is the latest unit test I made. Candidate should revert to follower and okay. Oh no, that's just a broken test. It's because it's responding to the vote. So we basically need to clear this. Oh, I just noticed something. This isn't even right. This is the wrong union. There we go. I should probably fill in the other stuff too, right? Candidate. And just be to disambiguate this. We'll make it a 3. Oh, we should also check that we are in term 3 when that's all said and done. Okay. Good. So what other things do I need to check into here? So it won't be a candidate anymore. So 2 should behave now. 1 we already did. Okay, now we somehow voted twice for 2 different guys. So yeah, I fixed these 2 problems, so this one might be a side effect of the other 2. It's kind of hard to say. Let me think about it. So can I scroll but keep that? Where's the stupid scroll bar? There it is. Yeah, see how it said we're in term 105 and all of a sudden it says we're in 106? I think that might have been that the term number got updated when we receive a vote. So that might be just we already fixed it. So maybe it's time to try out the real servers again. Try the real thing. So I need to go to the orchestration directory, stage the servers, and then clear the screen, realm server, instance 0. All right. And then clear this. Now start up instance 2. And now they have the server 0 has a majority because 2 out of 3 servers are up, so it became the leader. So the leader's going to be sending heartbeats. The followers are going to be receiving the heartbeats. And then a third server should join up, and then also now These two are both followers. Here's a leader. So watch what happens when I kill the leader. Now this one took over as the leader. So 2 is now the leader. So I start 0 back up, and it's like, okay, receiving heartbeats from 2. And we can kill 0 again. It's just a follower, so it doesn't impact anything. We could even kill server 1 and bring it back up, and it's fine. We kill server 2, though. These two force a re-election. And server 0, 1. Start 2 back up, and server 0 is back in charge. And you can see now that we have established the cluster, every time the leader dies, the term increments by 1. So now we're in term 24, and 2 is the leader. So kill 2, start it back up. Okay, so it jumped to 26, probably, I'm going to see this. There's probably a split election between, so 25, I'm guessing, ended in a split, a tie. Each one voting for themselves. I want to see that, just to make sure that it's what I understand. Like manual integration testing? Yeah. So I tried to do things in little baby steps. For one, it might be easier for you guys to follow, and for 2, it's kind of like you're building a tower of blocks. You want each level to be stable before you start on the next one. I actually thought about making a little demonstration of what it means to do a unit test versus integration test using blocks, and I thought, that might offend people into thinking that I'm talking down to them. Like using blocks as if it was child's play or something, but it's not. Okay, so there's a timeout. It started a new election 25. Probably this guy said the same thing. Timeout, starting new election 20. So they both voted for they both voted for themselves and then sent a request, and then both of them said, no, I'm voting for myself. Hold on, this is not right. Maybe I'm printing this when I shouldn't be printing it. Maybe that's why I'm seeing this. Rejecting the vote but voting for it? Maybe that's just a print problem. Let me look. Voting for. Yeah. Okay, so I just had this print statement in the wrong place. It should go inside that else. So if we see a rejecting vote, it went into this block here, and it will not vote for the other guy like this implies. So we need to move this. We can say we were in term because we will have changed it. Okay, so that's this is we ignore that because that was printed in error. So it rejected the vote because we already voted for ourselves, right? And then they refused to vote for us several times in a row. Yeah, so it was a split election. 25 ended in a tie, which will happen when you have an even number of servers, right? You'll have a tie. If you have an odd number, you can have a 2-2-1 split. So that can happen. And the algorithm's designed to, like, every time this happens, and they'll time out at different points. So it looks like 0 timed out first, right? 0 timed out first, and so we got a term 26, and we said, okay, we'll vote for you, and that's why it became the follower, while this one became the leader. It's the first one that ended up timing out becomes the leader. The timeouts are chosen randomly within a certain range to make it so you don't have very many splits. And so in the total time it took between when the server crashed, 2.9 to 3.4, so half a second. So we could speed this up simply by running an optimized build or reducing our timeouts and such. But still, half a second to flip to a new leader is pretty good. Let's run it some more. Have some more fun. Try to break it. Okay, we're in term 9. This guy's in charge, so we kill him. We'll start him again. Server 2 took over in term 10. Kill him and start him up again. This guy took over in 11. Kill him, start again. This guy's now in charge in term 12. Kill him. Start it up. 2 is in charge, then 13. kill and startup. 0 is in charge now. Yeah, so it's, I don't know how long I want to go on this, but every time I kill and restart the leader, someone else took over as leader. Sometimes it jumps a term. Sometimes it doesn't. Oh, it's server 1. So there you go. How do the servers determine who should be the leader? It's the timeout intervals are chosen at random, but the raft.github.io has this really neat visualization. So if here S3 is a server, he's regularly sending out heartbeats to prevent elections. So you see every time one of these guys receives a message, the timeout is reset not to the full, but to some random amount between half and full, right? And that is because if he were to die, eventually one of these will time out, and I can speed it up a tiny bit. So the S5 is going to time out first, starts a new election. So it's the choosing of the next timeout value at random that determines, like, whichever server picked the smallest number is probably going to win the next election. Hopefully that makes sense. So you can see that the timeouts are not the same. So right now, if S5 were to die, S2 would probably become the leader because it's got the shortest remaining timeout, right? Although if it comes close, you could have 2 guys simultaneously run for election, and then you could either have a split vote, or because of how quickly S1 hears from S4 versus S2, you might have the slower one actually win. We can actually set stuff up like that, right? We can kill... Oh, hold on, let's first establish a leader. All right, and then I will kill the leader, and then simultaneously time out these 2. And let's see what happens. So they both start an election, and his vote got to S4 first, so he got the vote. So he became the leader and won. So it's a combination of who times out first, and if they time out together, then who's the quickest to receive vote requests will get the most votes, with the chance that you might still have a split vote. So what happens when a server goes down is while we're in this state, you'll see a hiccup. If you're monitoring it very precisely, you'll see that there's no more progress being made in the state changes because there is no leader. The leader was the one that was supposed to be making state advancements in the state. The state is checked by log entries. So I'll show that in a minute. So until a leader gets elected, there's no progress in the log. Once a leader does get elected, now each time I do one of these requests, that's the state of the server advancing. So now it's advanced 5 steps. And then these messages are now not just heartbeats, but they're replication requests. They're saying, replicate my log, and it's showing it 1 entry at a time. You can optimize it by sending batches. Like S1 could send 1 through 5 in one shot if it wanted to. But just to help understand the algorithm here, it's showing it replicating 1 entry at a time. So let's say I turn 2 back on. 2 things will happen when it receives something from 1. It'll say, oh, I'm now in term 4. He is a leader, and by the way, I don't have all of the log requests, so it's going to start replicating there. Right. Now let's say I kill 2, and I start 3 back up, and I have him time out first. They're going to reject the votes because they're already in term 4, right? He feels bad, man. He didn't get enough votes. But he knows we're in term 4 now, so now the next guy that times out, see who it is. Okay, it's S2. But it looks like we're going to have a split. Wow, I've never seen that happen. They all only got 1 vote. Let's have him time out again first. I want him to win because his log is not so advanced. Right, see how he's not being elected leader? He's not being elected leader because S4 and S3 are saying, well, you don't have these entries. We haven't gotten that far, but that's one nuance in the leader election. S2 can never be leader because it doesn't have the complete log 5 is where the log is because it has a majority of the servers have replicated it. If we resume this, so S4 ended up being the leader, and it's now telling S2 how to catch up. So now that S2 is caught up, I need to wait for it to fully catch up. Now, if this were to stop and we timed him out, he could become leader as long as this guy wakes up and can vote for him. He will become leader now. There we go. He's a leader. So yeah, I'm glad that's interesting. So this is what I've been trying to implement. I haven't done the log stuff yet. I've just done leader election without log. So there's some extra rules I got to add, like I just demonstrated. When we have a log and a candidate does not have the all the log entries in the majority, or what's called the committed log entries, it will always have its vote rejected. Oh, thanks for following. Oh yes, I pooped. Oh, I have to tell my son that. He'll love that. There we go. Got my code journey link there from Kenkomatics. Thanks, Kenkomatics. Yeah, my first full-time job was at that 24-year job, so I may be in a unique situation. I've only been at 1 or 2 jobs, but they were for a very long time. Anyway, so I think our servers are solid now. I can kill any of these servers at will, and the cluster lives on as long as there are 2 servers. Watch what happens if I kill this leader. Now he's left alone. He can't progress because there's no one else to vote for him. He'll keep raising the term because each election just fails immediately because he's not getting anything back. But the moment I turn on one server, he'll say, "Oh, vote for me," and he'll say, "Sure," and he'll get the vote. Am I still freelancing contracting for that company? Right now, I'm waiting to hear back from that company. But it's one of those things, if you work for someplace a really long time, a lot of the time they'll ask you to come back for contracting. But I hear that it's not so great at that company right now, and so I probably won't hear back from them until they actually have money. Fail in the last second? I want it to fail. I've been trying to break this. I want this to fail so I can see another bug, but actually we're doing great. So last time what happened is we ended up with 2 leaders simultaneously, but now we're getting consistently 1 leader, and it's just and I just have to know that this is 0, that's 1, and that's 2. So I can see, okay, it's back down here. Kill him and start him up. Now it's up here, and it is random. Now it's bouncing between these 2 guys. 0 is like, how come I can't be the leader? Finally, 0 becomes a leader. So I think we're good. We have the election stuff done, which is a great point to actually check stuff in. So let me do that. I think all I did today was Raft so far, right? Yeah. So the good news is, for you guys, if you want to see my ugly code, it's up on GitHub. All the reusable components, like the Raft algorithm itself that I implemented, is in my GitHub. My game won't be because I want to potentially make that into a product and all that good stuff. So I'm not going to immediately release it free. But I try to make as much as I can my code in reusable components, and those are always going to be open source, MIT license, and all that good stuff. Okay, so server, fix bugs found during integration testing. I guess I want to list what they are based off of the use cases, right? Right. Repeated votes should not count. Botland bot is asleep today. Okay, right. Obey new term leader and update term count. Obey. You must obey. Right. Reset election timeout. Reset election timeout when heartbeat recede. Those things just weren't happening yesterday, which is why it was all confusion and delay. Right. Do not obey old term leaders. Right. I guess these kind of go together because do not reset election timeout when heartbeat received from current term leader. Heartbeat recede from old leader. I'm going to cheat a little bit there and not say term so I don't have to wrap it. Okay, so candidate should revert to follower. Right. Revert to follower when peer starts new election. Yeah, so I only had 6 bugs not caught yesterday, but now we have 6 unit tests to catch them today. So the moment I do this, you guys have that code. So if you wanted to reuse that, by the way, there are a couple of things I am leveraging, but they're also available in my GitHub. So they're listed in the CMake. So I wrote a JSON library and I wrote a library to abstract away the differences between different operating systems called system abstractions. So and Google test to test it all. So yeah, those. Well, this is the dependencies the test has. Test depends on the thing it's testing. So the other 3 things are JSON, Google test, and the system abstractions. And I think, did I highlight the right things? Yeah, JSON also depends. Okay, JSON depends on UTF-8. So this might pull in a bunch of my components. What does UTF-8 depend on? Nothing. Cool. I think system abstractions also depends on nothing. When I say nothing, that means if they have any dependencies, it's just on the compiler and standard library. I don't know if anyone is ever going to reuse my stuff, but it's there if you guys want to look at it. Let me look at my plan. What was I planning to do after fixing stuff? We did that. When we actually succeeded, we tested it by taking servers down and bringing them back up. Okay, now tackling issues from yesterday. Think about if there's a way to test send message delegate when the coiner isn't connected. That was just to make sure it did something and didn't crash. I don't think it's doing anything bad now. I think it's just going and being dropped. But it was like something that didn't immediately come to mind how I would test that. Just wondering, why do I use git GUI instead of VS Code's version control? Because, for example, I ought to record a video about this because then it might help me raising a ticket with the VS Code. How best to explain it? So, for example, I just pushed the Raft component upstream, right? But Raft is a separate Git repository from the top level. It is not a Git submodule. So I do the same strategy that Google Android does, where I have an XML file at the top level that says, if you want the Raft component, you have to check it out from here and check out the master branch and put it there. So that's one Git repository inside of another, and it's not a Git submodule. So if you did that, normally when you do Git status here, it would say Raft is not known. It's an untracked directory. So to prevent it from doing that, I put it into the git ignore as well. And I think, yeah, right here. I think that's what's causing it, so that if I go and make a change to Raft somewhere, let's just say I add a semicolon there. The version control says there aren't any changes. No changes. It's because this entire directory Raft is being ignored. Now, git lens does let you see that, hey, you have an unstaged change there, and I can actually stage it if I want. Like I say, stage it, but I start to see weird things where I'll stage it, and it'll say it can't add it to the index. It's because I think it's trying to add it to the wrong repository. And also there's no way to actually make a commit. I can stage, but I can't actually make a commit. Yeah, so that's another potential holy war, I'm sure, is mono repo versus multi-repo. I have a bunch of my own opinionated statements about mono repo versus multi-repo. If you're really curious, you can look up the tool I use on Google search. It's a Mugit. Mugit. I do Mugit status. It's a Python program I wrote, and there's a long worded opinionated reasoning. So yeah, so that's why I use Git GUI, and also because I'm just used to using it. I used it before, and before I even knew VS Code, and I'm just used to using it. All right. What was the other thing I was going to look into? Allow text messages received to be cleared without ending up setting promises twice. I'm not feeling about working on these today. Maybe I can move on to something else. What would I want to work on next? We could try to introduce the log stuff. I have to think about it though. I could do some refactoring. Everyone wants to see refactoring, right? I'm looking at this and like, man, this sucks. Let's refactor. So the refactoring in TDD is you just change the code, you do not change the tests. Unless you're refactoring the tests themselves, you don't change them. And you just refactor the code, you do whatever you want, and as long as the tests still pass, you're good. Them's the rules. So we will refactor. I will take this entire case out and make it a function. We will call it impl on receive request vote. It probably will need to have the message and the sender instance number and the current time. Unless we don't use the time anywhere else. Then I might just move that code to individual cases. So now we had to define that somewhere. On receive request vote, got it. Let's put it here. And paste. You don't refactor the test in TDD except when you need to? Well, I need to refactor them when they look disgusting. And man, my camera's really... I need to... Just a second. The lighting is really bad today because it's so dark outside. My shirt's gonna disappear. And I'm gonna disappear. Ah! Yeah, see the light is so terrible that not any one shade of blue anymore. We'll just live with the blue fringe. I need to get a better light. Okay, I moved this into a method that's in the implementation, so all these impls go away, which is kind of nice. All these guys go away. Yeah, I thought, I don't know what the generic term is, but blue screen / green screen, I thought it would be simple, but turns out you need a good light, you need a consistent light source to make it work, and I don't have that. So on a cloudy, rainy day, it looks terrible. Okay, it wants these parameters, I'm sure. And I butchered that. Okay, there we go. Need to... I'm going to steal the documentation from that receive message. Here we go. In fact, I'll steal the whole thing. This method is called whenever the server receives a request to vote for another server in the cluster. This is the... Actually, now that I think about it, everything is from reference to request vote, so I can shortcut this damn thing, right? I can say message impl request vote details, right? Say const that, and then everywhere in this range that says message impl. Oh, I already lost my selection. Oh well. Go back. And then do that within this selection, please. That's this little button. And then replace that with message details. Go. Yay. And we need now. Forgot now. Now equals this. Missing an E in the extracted function name? Receive request vote. I'm looking for the E. I'm not seeing it. On receive request vote. Oh, request vote. Request vote. Thank you. My eye did not see that. Thank you, Hideo. 1 virtual point for Hideo. I need to start writing these down. Oh, no, that wasn't for Hideo. Sorry. It was Burial C. Burial C gets a point. All right. So, I actually kind of like this because now I can be specific here and say that. And then in here, it's just message details dot term. That's a lot cleaner. Yeah, again, my eye failed me twice. It didn't see the missing E, and it thought that Hideo told me about it, but it was really Burial C. Okay, so that's one step. So we build, make sure nothing broke. Actually, servers are still running. Look at that. This was Raft tests. In fact, the other servers are still running. Just 2 of them on their own. And that's good, we can let them run. They're running from, oh, look at my glasses, all glowy. They're running a cached version of the executable. If I keep my eyes down, then there's no weird camera blur thing. I think Hideo has already a couple points from before, so he's flush with points. The problem is I can't give people points because there's nothing they can do with the points yet. I don't have any anything like other streamers do yet. Although once I have a game going, you know, that might be an idea. People that help me out on stream might get in-game currency. Why not? Or maybe special items or just recognition. Oh, by the way, probably if I ever, hopefully, get something going, everyone who's who I recognize from the stream here, I'll probably elevate them to some status in the game, for what it's worth. So we did an extract method. Refactoring. Extract. Do I want to just keep it on the same line? Extract on receive request vote. I'm gonna need your guys' help to fill in some of the creative details of the game anyway. At some point I'll be transitioning from just coding the backend servers to actually in the game putting content in there, and I'll be like, okay, what should the next quest I put in be? And then someone will come up with an idea, and then I'll I don't know, name the NPC after them or something. And yeah, so I guess what I would do with in-game currency would be they would have some kind of status or points in the game I'm making. All right, request vote results, same deal. So impl on receive request vote results. Request vote results. Sender instance number. And we'll put it next to its brother here. EJ did a similar thing in Food.exe. I never actually played Food.exe. And thanks for the follow, Karesha Craze. Hope I said your name right. Selecting people from the stream, listing them in the about screen. Oh, that's a good idea. Although I think in my game, since it's multiplayer persistent, it's not going to be an about screen. It'll actually be like, you'll have a presence, like maybe there'll be a plaque in game that you can go to, and if you look at the plaque, it will list the names of the supporters. All right, and then this changes to results details. And then this changes receives a response to a request to vote for response to a vote request. No way to test it, still have the executable but no server. Oh, was it a client server game? Maybe, does anyone have a recording of someone playing EJ's game? I'd like to watch. Does EJ have a YouTube channel? I went to his Twitch page once, and since he hasn't streamed forever, there was like no videos. So whenever the server receives response to a vote request. Okay, I should actually say this contains the details of the message received. It's not the actual message, it's the detail from the message. All right, now we get to shorten all the impls. Yay. I can't just do search replace because there's also message impl. Actually, that I could do search replace, because if I replace that first in selection, that'll help, right? In selection, replace, close. Now I can do remove the impl. Impl goes to nothing within that, and I already lost the selection. Damn it. Can I make my selection sticky for a minute? In selection, replace. Boom. You have a VOD of you playing versus Adam? Do I have to go to your Twitch page to see that? Oh. Nice. Let me look at this later. I don't want to get sidetracked. But thank you very much. I will look at this right after I'm done. I'll look at after the stream. EJ's game. Paste text only. Thank you. So I'm at the 3-hour mark. I'll do a little bit more refactoring and then I'll probably call it, because end on a high note. Server consensus reached. Then when Adam comes on tomorrow morning, I could say, yay, my servers talk to each other and they make a leader. All right. Let's refactor some more. Just in the same spirit, we'll move heartbeat out too. On receive heartbeat. Oh, it's still up? Okay, cool. I thought I went there and it wasn't, I couldn't find anything. I probably did something wrong. On receive heartbeat. It's kind of cool how the IntelliSense Tells me what it is, even if I'm actually writing the function, and the only reference to it is from something trying to call it, and it doesn't exist yet. This is called whenever the server receives a heartbeat message from the cluster leader. From der leader. Cluster leader. This, yep, okay. And then again with the replace. God damn it. I have to get what I want to replace in the search replace thing first, and then pick that, and then... No, wait a minute, hold on. I actually want to replace this first. With message details. Then I want to replace impl with nothing. Yay. Awesomeness. What did it not like about this? Oh. This should be heartbeat. Yep. Someone probably just typed that and I didn't see it. Because the video is a highlight of him presenting the game in 1 minute. Okay. I get it. Test still pass. All right. This is pretty good. I feel happy about this. In fact, I can remove the now. We don't need it. People might not like the way I indent and I have the break there and all that, but I kind of have grown used to seeing it that way. This looks good. So what's something else that needs work? I'm just gonna slowly pan through. Ooh, this one looks bad. Okay, worker thread is bad. How can I chew this one down to size? This I can put stash away somewhere, right? Actually, not easily because, well, I could pass this by reference. How would I do this? Yeah, let's try it. So let's try to extract method here. Let me keep it there for a second, and just so I can come up with a name. You're more concerned about those long lines? You mean like that it goes past my margin there? I can do those just while I'm at it. Although people might start to cringe at how I like to do my indenting. Is that cringe-worthy? If I really wanted to stay within the guides, I would do that. I don't know anyone else who does that, and I know people who hate it when people do that. So at the risk of pissing people off, I'll do that now, just to demonstrate how we can keep within the guard. And if I really wanted to go really wild, I could do this. Look at that. I think that's absurd, though. It's a little absurd. That might be nicer, though. Hey there, Orlin the Mage. So when I do silly things, I bring out all the lurkers. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm near the end of my stream, I think. I got my servers to... Oh, thanks for the bits. I got my servers to elect themselves a leader, and everything seems to work, so I figured I'd do some refactoring to clean up the code a bit before calling it a day. Thank you for the bits. I need to have a custom bit stream notification thing that is along the same lines of like a follower message, like A game meme of some kind. Okay. This does not return anything. This is really basically delay worker thread until there is work to be done. And that's too long, right, Hideo? So what's a shorter name? Wait for work? Wait for work in worker? Wait for work? But we'll have to pass some things. What does it need? It needs the lock. It needs... Well, it could calculate that itself, right? It needs a reference to worker asked to stop. And it needs the shared... Well, it could be in the shared state, so... Do I have methods in the shared state, or is it just a plain old data? It's plain old data with a constructor. We'll just leave the shared arrow. Okay, we'll do that. So this will go into wait for work. Like that. Yeah, reference. Oh, no. It is a reference as long as I declare it up here to be a reference. Because this will just be a future. I just need to have a reference to a future. Like this. Reference worker asked. We have to do that because future is not copyable. I don't even think it... I think it's movable, but not copyable. And it also doesn't make sense to copy the lock either. I don't even think it's copyable, so it has to be also by reference. Can we do that? Like that, right? I guess we can. I wasn't sure if I could use decal type in the type of a parameter in a method like that. Hey there, Metal Storm. How's it going? I kind of feel like I live up north. I live in Southern California, but it's raining. It's all dark and cold. And I'm wondering if this is like what people live with up in Washington, Oregon, that kind of thing. All right. Kind of sucks. Oh, I need the... Okay, does the RPC timeout only need it... Yeah, okay, so we can just totally move it up to here. Look at that. That's awesome. Does this actually compile? It's sunny in the Bay Area? Well, screw you. Actually, it's a good thing that we have rain down here. We're normally in a drought like almost all the time. This is probably our second rainiest month. I don't like how it's cold. It's cold. I don't know about you guys, but the first part that I start to feel the cold with is my hands if I'm programming, because it slows me down. I can feel my hands being cold. This method is used by the worker thread to suspend itself until more work needs to be done. This is the lock object. This is the object used to manage the shared properties mutex in the worker thread. And the wrap thing doesn't work here because of the bug that they have ignored and haven't looked at yet. But no hard feelings, I'll just wrap it myself. I actually have a space heater, but I don't know. It's in the garage somewhere. I should get that out. I actually had that at work for a while, for the same reason that it was just so frustrating to type with cold hands. But I would only need it for maybe a month. Okay, this... Actually, these are technically all in out, aren't they? Although we're only really polling it here. This is the receiving end of the promise made by the I don't know, by the overall class to stop the worker thread. To tell a worker thread to stop. So this might be funny wording, but this is to try to help me remember what is a promise and what is a future. In C++, a future is the receiving end of a promise. The promise is the sending end, and it's an asynchronous value delivery system. So here the value is I'm telling you to stop, and so the receiving end is you were told to stop or asked to stop. So it's the receiving end of the promise made by the class to tell us to tell us to stop. If you can't tell, I'm pretty new at using promise and future. Fingerless gloves next to your keyboard? I should look into that. All right, so we clean that up a tiny bit. This sort of goes together as a unit. Because this signal, this is the shell of the loop. And there's a special semantic here that if at this point this promise was created by someone else, then we'll remember that it was, and when we get down here, we will set it and then release it. Set and release. Set and fly away. So what's in between kind of fits together as a unit, which makes me want to put it into another method. Calling it like worker thread body would be nice. Let's try that. Worker body, or worker loop body. Let's see how it goes. What could go wrong? Let's see what goes wrong. Actually, the only thing is it needs the lock. That's not too bad. Yeah, too long will wrap that guy. And I will use this. I will reuse that comment, remove this. This method performs one loop of work on behalf of the worker thread. Well, not, that's a weird way to say it. This method is called once per worker thread loop to do the thing. I don't know. Actually, we'll just say this is the logic to perform once per worker thread loop. Yeah. Break out of my habit of saying this method is, or yeah. I could even remove this. That'd be too strange though. And it needs lock. Awesome. Now it's getting to the size that I'm okay with. If it fits in one screen worth at this zoom level, which is 32 lines, it's maybe right on the edge of needing to be cut down, but a lot of it's because these blocks are multi-line. The internet's being bad? Well, I'm streaming at 2 megabit per second, and I probably don't have quality options, so I haven't yet done or learned how to do the tricks that like Skidog does, for example, to get quality options. So you're kind of forced to go at 2 megabit. So, does that mean you have to head out? If so, see you later, Playing with Scissors. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, we will, in the spirit of making it a little prettier, kind of clean this up a little bit. I'm almost done anyway, I think. If I get this file refactored, I'll probably call it. I need to stop and think about how I want to do. The next step, now that we have an elected leader of the cluster, is to introduce the log, which has two aspects of it. There's the Raft aspects, which are that it adds some extra rules to the election process, and also there's the actual replication of the entries. That's the Raft point of view. And then from the game server's point of view, these log entries are actually commands to change the state of the game. So I have to think about how I want to integrate the game-specific parts with the reusable Raft part. I have a little of that here that I anticipated there will be a base class for log entries, which the game will subclass. But you can see I haven't put anything in it. I haven't put enough thought into it. I need to put some thought into it. And rather than stream me sitting here not saying anything and just thinking, like Resident Sleeper, I would rather just do it off stream, get a plan together, and then have that ready for tomorrow. Do I want to open these up and refactor these a little bit? I don't know. A lot of these are just the log messages that are making it look long. I could maybe refactor, like, I could remove all this boilerplate and say, send level 1 message or something. But it's dealing with a var args, a dot 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 thing, so yeah. I don't feel like dealing with that for now. Actually, each of these functions is kind of nice and short. Okay, this one with the comments, I think we can break that up, right? Yeah, let's break this up. So let's keep this line as it is, and we'll add 2 functions. So it's not revert to candidate. It would be step up as candidate. And then that's this. Yeah, my fingers are bugging me being cold. And then this is send initial vote requests. And that needs a now. I can see it. Current time, so that we don't have to keep sampling the timekeeper over and over again redundantly. That's all we need, right? Send initial vote requests double now. Double down on now. Nothing better than now. Okay, and then I can remove the comments, which is the whole goal of that. That's what the comments for me, those kinds of comments, used to be I would do that all the time. Now, for me, when I do that, it's a sign for myself to go back and refactor later. It means I really need to break it up. My goal is to make the code, the functions short enough that you don't need comments. If you're familiar with the code you're looking at, like what it's supposed to do. If you don't know anything about it, actually what I expect people to do first is go to the README file, and second, go to my unit tests and read about these test cases. And then when they see types like that, I expect them to look it up and look at the comments there. That's what I expect. So after that, when you're looking at the actual implementation, you should be familiar with what it's doing, and you shouldn't need comments to explain the little details. You should be able to be self-evident, right? This method, I guess that's why I also have a comment at all the way down to the method level, is that if the name alone is not enough, I will give you a comment to tell you a little bit more. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the Git lens. I'm going to go to those comments I did have. Here. and pull those out and put it here. And I guess instead of ourselves, it sets the server up as a candidate in the current term. Recording that it voted for itself, and awaiting votes from other servers, from all the other servers. Right? This one, it's starting to rain harder here. So much for going out on a walk. I to get my rain jacket out for that. Okay, so this... Okay, I got this a little wrong, backwards, didn't I? That is sort of broken up into two steps. This one sets up the server as a candidate in the current term. And records that it voted for itself, but that's the only thing it does. It doesn't need the current time. This one... This method registers that the server is awaiting votes from all other servers and sends out the first requests for the servers to vote. Yeah. So new term. Set up as a candidate, send initial vote requests. Set up as a candidate means we voted for ourselves. One vote for us. Actually, maybe this belongs here. No. This is what constitutes being a candidate, that we voted for ourselves in this term. Maybe this should be moved down here, though. This kind of is tied in with awaiting vote. I kind of feel like this should be moved down to here. Well, no. It's tied more to that, isn't it? Okay. Well, actually, maybe this should go up there. Yeah, I kind of feel like it should. So this changes a little bit. This sets up the server as a candidate in the current term. Records that it voted for itself, and and records that it voted for itself and is awaiting votes from all the other servers there. And this one just sends out the first request for the servers to vote. Yeah, I like that better. Then this is purely constructing the message and then sending it to everyone but ourselves. By the way, this queue message to be sent, that's something I did off stream to solve one of the deadlock problems, in that how do I show it? This message is to be sent. This send message delegate, if we call that while holding our own class's mutex, and another thread calls us and tries to get the same mutex, the two threads could block each other, because if we're calling something that's grabbing a mutex and the other thread already had that mutex and calls us, it's a deadlock. So I just basically set a rule for myself that when we call callbacks or delegates, we're not allowed to hold any mutexes. So because when we're in the context of sending initial vote requests, this is, if you look up the call stack of this, we're definitely holding a mutex. So we can't send anything now. So I decided I'll make it simple. I'll have all the logic that we would do to send, so we fill in the message and everything. And we'll just, instead of sending it, we'll put into a queue, and then later, here, when we call the send queued messages, we purposefully release the lock, go through and send all of the things that are in the queue. We empty it out completely, and then relock again. And we have, before unlocking, we have to actually move the message queue out, make a copy of the delegate we're going to call, because once we've unlocked this mutex, all this stuff could be changed by other threads. So that's why we see this queue messages to be sent now that wasn't there yesterday. I think I am pretty much done with this class. It's all fairly good. It's under 800 lines, so it's not like it needs to be broken up into different files. Each method's not terribly long. Some of them indent quite a ways. So for example, I could pull that out and declare that predicate function separately if I wanted to. I don't feel like it though. I think we're just going to call it here. I'm going to build this, make sure nothing broke, and then I'll do a recap, and then we'll host someone. Run the unit tests, and then I got to check that in. This is more refactoring. So we're extracted a couple different methods here, right? Extract step up as candidate method. Extract this one. Start election we had. We extracted this. And this. Oh, I forgot about this one. We extracted that one too. Oh, and this one. Can't forget that. Hopefully it makes the code a bit more readable. Cool. I push that. I'll check for other changes I might have forgotten to handle. Nope. Okay, so we're all good. Let me recap, and then we'll go host someone. So it's been a good day. I will let's run the servers again to demonstrate. So I need to pull the servers all offline. They're still running. So that one was a follower. We closed him. Here's the poor leader who has no one to send to right now. Shut him down. And stage the servers again. Run 0. And we don't have to run them in order. I could run 2 and then 1. And then we can see 0 is the leader. I can kill the leader at any point, and one of these two servers, this time it was 2, he took over as leader. The leader's the one sending the heartbeats, everyone else is receiving them. I can kill 2 again. Now it looks like 0 became the leader. I can kill 0 again, and now 2 became the leader. And this works as long as the majority, in this case 2 out of 3 servers are running. Any one server can die, and the other 2 will not only continue the process of selecting a leader, but they should also be able to advance the state of the game once I add that capability. So if you're interested in that algorithm, one more time I'll spam the GitHub command. All the code I was writing today, well, most of it, in this Raft library here is on my GitHub. It's all MIT open source, MIT license, I should say. And if you have any questions after the stream, or you want to get a notification when I'm about to stream, it will there'll be there's an announcements channel on that Discord you can keep open. And then in general, my schedule, I'm trying to do at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific, and I'm ending a little early because I started early today. And also, this is a good stopping point. So I should be streaming tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. Hope you enjoyed. And I'm going to go peek off screen here to see who's streaming. We can introduce you, if you haven't seen them before, to someone interesting. I haven't hosted Simuleos in a while. Oh, thanks for coming by, Hideo. Let's go host Simuleo. So he works on algorithms, and he's like me, he chats a lot. So he's very, very talkative, very fun guy. Oh, thanks for the follow. Bug found? I found many bugs today. I found 6 of them. So I like your name. So we're gonna host Simuleos. I'm gonna go peek and see if he's still streaming or... Okay, looks like he's looking at 3D plane intersection algorithm, maybe? He's just working on his algorithm archive, so we'll go host him. So again, thanks for watching. I don't have a nice outro. I feel like I kind of trip over myself at the end, but hopefully you enjoyed and come back tomorrow. Enjoy Simuleos. We'll go say hi to him now. Thanks.